Let me say something that might ruffle a few feathers. Aging means decline. That's the story we've been sold. Your knees ache, normal. Your belly's bloated, just aging. Your hair's falling out, you forget names, and you're waking up 3 times a night. All part of the package. But what if that's only half the truth? What if some of what we blame on aging is actually the result of ignoring the quiet wisdom of the body? What if healing doesn't always come from the pharmacy, but from your kitchen drawer? Welcome to another episode from our channel, Buddhist Wisdom for the Elderly. Here we look at aging through a different lens. We see it as a spiritual return, not a breakdown. And today, we're diving into something that might surprise you: castor oil and baking soda. Together, they've been quietly changing lives, from soothing sore joints to improving skin, hair, sleep, and even prostate health. But if you watch only one part of this video, make it part 6. That's where we talk about the gut, the emotional center of the body. Heal your gut, and you don't just improve digestion, you reclaim your energy, your clarity, and your peace. These aren't wild claims. They're ancient practices backed by both science and lived wisdom. And they're easy enough to try from home. If you find meaning here, like and subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. It keeps us going and helps us serve more elders who are ready to heal in a deeper way. So take a breath, settle in, and let's begin. Not with fear, but with curiosity, humor, and care. Part 1. The blood flow booster that brings you back to life. Ever notice how your feet feel like ice cubes even in July? Or how standing up too fast feels like your body just ran a marathon it didn't sign up for? Maybe you climb a flight of stairs and suddenly you're bargaining with your legs like, "Come on guys, don't fail me now." These are the whispers of a tired circulatory system. And no, it's not just getting old. It's the body saying, "Remember me?" See, blood is not just a delivery system for oxygen and nutrients. It's life itself, flowing through your arteries like little red messengers of love. When circulation slows down, everything else does too. Energy dips, skin dulls, the heart works harder than it should. And you start feeling like a wind-up toy that's losing its twist. But here's the sweet news. Your body wants to move. It wants to flow. You just need to give it a little encouragement, like a gentle push on the swing of life. And wouldn't you know it, our sticky golden friend castor oil is here for that too. Now I know what you're thinking. Ramdas, are you really telling me this goop can fix my cold feet? Yes, but not just your feet, your whole internal river. Castor oil doesn't stimulate like caffeine or crash like sugar. It doesn't force the body into motion, it invites it. Through its magic molecule, ricinoleic acid, it stimulates something called nitric oxide, which tells your blood vessels, "Hey, relax, open up." And when the vessels relax, the blood flows. Simple as that. Let me tell you about Helen, a 74-year-old yoga teacher and part-time poet whose hands were always freezing, like shake your hand and feel guilty cold. She said, "I look like a sunflower, but feel like a snowman." She started massaging castor oil into her feet and legs before bed. Not in a hurry, not as a chore, but as a little ritual, like prayer through touch. Within a week, she felt warmth, actual warmth, like the pilot light inside her was coming back on. Within a month, her energy improved. She said walking felt less like dragging a boulder and more like gliding on a breeze. Try it like this. Warm a spoonful of castor oil in your hands. Not hot, just warm enough to feel alive. Rub it into your legs, feet, hands, anywhere that feels sluggish or cold. Wrap the area in a towel or just cover up and relax for 20 to 30 minutes. Do it before bed. Let your body absorb that love while you drift into dreamland. Now, this isn't just about circulation. It's about connection, about touching the parts of you that feel forgotten. You're saying, "I haven't abandoned you. I'm here." In the language of the heart, this kind of presence speaks louder than any supplement. So if you've been feeling foggy, frozen or flat out fatigued, maybe your body's not asking for more effort. Maybe it's asking for more kindness, massage, warmth, stillness. These are spiritual practices too, you know. Type flow peace in the comments if you're ready to feel yourself again. From the inside out. Part 2. The pain soother that doesn't come in a pill. Let's be real, some mornings your body feels like it's been negotiating peace treaties all night. Your knees make sounds you don't remember approving. Your back mutters, "Nice try, kid," when you try to tie your shoes. Your shoulders? They've taken up permanent residence somewhere between stiff and suspicious. But here's the wild thing. You're not broken, you're just becoming more aware. In Buddhist psychology, pain isn't the enemy. It's the bell that rings when something in your body is saying, "Hey, pay attention. I'm here too." Now, the Western path usually goes something like ache, pill, temporary numbness, repeat. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that's necessary. But over time, those painkillers start to whisper back with side effects. Stomach upset, foggy brain, a liver that looks at you like, "Dude, again." So what if, instead of silencing pain, you could soothe it? What if you could meet it with compassion instead of a chemical muzzle? Enter our old friend, castor oil. Now I know, you've probably had enough of this sticky miracle by now. But stay with me, because when it comes to joint pain, muscle aches, and stiff backs, castor oil isn't just helpful, it's downright intimate. It doesn't bulldoze pain, it sits with it, like a friend with tea and a warm blanket. Here's how it works. Ricinoleic acid, the oil's magical ingredient, slips beneath the skin, reducing inflammation where the pain actually lives. Not just masking it, meeting it, softening it. Let me introduce you to Mark, a retired carpenter with knees that sound like popcorn in a microwave. Years of kneeling on concrete had turned simple things like stairs into full-blown adventures. He'd tried glucosamine, turmeric pills, even acupuncture. Some things helped, but the stiffness always returned like an old psalm on repeat. Then I handed him a bottle of castor oil and said, "Here, rub this on your knees and wrap them up like you're sending them to bed." He looked at me like I'd asked him to anoint himself in maple syrup. But 3 weeks later, I got a message. Took the stairs without swearing, no railing, first time in 4 years. That's not just about oil, that's about attention. Because here's the thing, when you take the time to touch the places that hurt, to warm them, to honor them, something shifts, not just in your body, but in your spirit. Try it like this. Warm a tablespoon of castor oil, just enough to feel like a cozy hug. Rub it gently into sore spots, knees, back, shoulders, wrists, wherever the body whispers, "Ow." Cover the area with a warm towel or heating pad. Sit quietly, not to fix, just to be with what is. Do this a few times a week. It's not about expecting fireworks, it's about practicing tenderness. Because the truth is, your pain isn't here to punish you, it's here to slow you down long enough to remember yourself. In this fast, distracted world, even pain can become a path back to presence. So next time your body grumbles when you rise, pause. Smile. Say, "Okay, old friend, I hear you," and then pass the castor oil. If you're ready to stop battling your body and start partnering with it, type "pain peace" in the comments. Part 3. The skin restorer that outshines fancy creams. So there you are, standing in front of the mirror one morning, blinking into the light like a startled monk. And suddenly, you notice them. The lines, the little crinkles around your eyes, the creases near your mouth that weren't there a year ago. Or maybe they were, but now they've decided to throw a reunion. Your skin, once bouncy like a baby's daydream, now feels a little tired, a little less spring morning and more worn journal. But let me tell you something that the beauty industry won't. This isn't a problem. It's a poem. Yes, a wrinkle is a poem. A story written by sunlight, laughter, sorrow, and every moment you showed up fully for life. What could be more beautiful? Still, I get it. You want to feel radiant, glowing, alive in your own skin. Not because you're chasing youth, but because you want your outer reflection to match your inner spark. So you try the fancy creams, serums that sound like they came from a space shuttle, moisturizers with price tags that make your eyebrows arch higher than Botox ever could. But here's the funny part. Those creams? Most of them don't sink in. They just sit on top, like guests at a party who never take off their coats. Now let me introduce you to a much humbler guest. Castor oil. Unassuming, a little sticky, smells faintly like your great aunt's pantry. But this quiet little potion, it goes deep. It doesn't just moisturize, it activates. It nourishes from the inside out, whispering to your skin cells, "Wake up, sweet one. It's time to glow again." Science even agrees. Studies have shown that castor oil helps boost collagen and elastin, the dynamic duo that keeps your skin plump and resilient. Unlike synthetic creams that try to trick your skin, castor oil reminds it of its own magic. Let me tell you about Maya, a 68-year-old watercolor artist with hands that told every story she ever painted. She came to me one day, rubbing her cheeks and saying, "I feel like my skin is starting to forget me." I handed her a little jar of castor oil, like a sacred offering, and said, "Don't use it like a product. Use it like a prayer." So every night she'd sit in front of her mirror, light a candle, and massage castor oil into her face with the tenderness of someone returning home. After a few weeks, her skin didn't just soften, it brightened, not because it erased her years, but because it honored them. Want to try it? Dab a few drops of cold-pressed castor oil on your fingertips. Warm it gently between your hands, then press it into your face, forehead, cheeks, jaw, neck. Breathe while you do it, slow, present, grateful. Optional, add a bit of aloe vera gel for extra glow, or a drop of lavender oil if you want your face to smell like serenity. Use it before bed. Let your skin drink it in like poetry on the page. And here's the real beauty tip. Don't look for youth. Look for aliveness. Because when you touch your skin with kindness, you're telling it something deeper than any cream ever could. I see you. I love you. Thank you for carrying me through this life. So if you're done chasing miracle products and ready to return to ritual, type skin peace in the comments. Part 4, the hairline and the holy mystery. Let's talk about something tender, your hair. Yeah, I know. For some of us, it's receded like the tide at low moon. You run your fingers through it and think, wasn't there more of you here last year? Maybe it's falling out in the shower, clinging to your brush, or just thinning with quiet determination like it's slowly packing its bags and heading for the next life. But before you go blaming genetics or cursing old age like it's some cosmic prank, let me share something with you. Hair loss isn't punishment. It's just one more doorway life uses to whisper, "Are you still attached to how things used to look?" Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't care. Of course you care. That's beautiful. Wanting to feel good in your skin or your scalp is natural. But what if I told you that your hairline retreating doesn't mean your vitality has? Enter castor oil, the thick, sicky nectar of the wellness gods. Now, it doesn't sparkle, it's not sexy, it looks like something that leaked out of an old lantern. But this goopy little miracle has a secret. It knows how to nourish what's been neglected, and that includes your follicles. The science folks will tell you it's because of ricinoleic acid, which increases blood flow to the scalp and blocks DHT, the hormone that bullies your hair into quitting. That's the Western take. But here's the Eastern angle. Castor oil is a practice in patience. It invites you to sit still, be present, and love your head even if it's a little shinier than you'd prefer. Let me tell you about James, a jazz-loving divorce lawyer with a big laugh and a disappearing hairline. He tried everything: minoxidil, fancy shampoo, even putting rosemary sprigs in his pillowcase like some sort of herbalist elf. Nothing stuck. Then he called me one day, whispering like it was a confession. "Man, I tried the castor oil. That stuff is weird, but I think it's working." Every night, James massaged warm castor oil into his scalp like he was playing Miles Davis on his temples. Slow, rhythmic, intentional. After a few weeks, he didn't see miracles, but he felt something, tingling, aliveness, a reconnection. And then, one morning, he caught his reflection in the mirror and said, "Wait a minute, is that fuzz?" You see, it's not just the oil, it's the ritual. Here's how to try it. Warm a tablespoon of cold-pressed castor oil until it's cozy, not scorching. Massage it gently into your scalp, especially the areas doing the slow fade. Take your time, 5 minutes of presence, not multitasking. Optional, add a few drops of rosemary essential oil if you want to smell like an enlightened forest. Wrap your head in a towel or shower cap and let it marinate for an hour, or sleep with it overnight if you dare. Do this a few times a week. Not with desperation, but with devotion. Like you're tending a sacred garden, not fixing a broken machine. Now, will your hair regrow like you're 25 again? Maybe not. But here's what you might notice: a sense of wholeness, a scalp that feels less abandoned, a mirror that feels a little more forgiving. And that is beautiful. Remember, aging isn't about fading away. It's about waking up to new layers of truth. Even if that truth has a few less strands on top. If you're ready to give your scalp a little love, type hair peace in the comments. You're not fixing yourself, you're just showing up, one drop at a time. Part 5. Healing the prostate, like a bodhisattva in the bathroom. You ever notice how, as we get older, the bathroom starts to feel like a second home? Seriously. You wake up at 3 a.m., not because God whispered some divine message into your ear, but because your bladder screamed, "Get up, or I'll embarrass you." So you shuffle down the hallway in your socks, rubbing your eyes, trying not to wake the dog. Again. And you think, well, I guess this is just what happens now. Like there's some invisible manual that says, page 72, frequent urination after age 50. No refunds. But here's a little twist from the universe. It might not be age at all. It might be inflammation and stress, and maybe just a little cosmic prank to keep us humble. Now let me tell you something. The monks in the Himalayas, the grandmothers in Georgia, and a few bewildered scientists all seem to agree on. Castor oil is no joke. It's thick, sticky, smells a bit like earthworms, and it just might be one of the most healing substances on the planet. During World War II, they packed this golden goop into survival kits for soldiers and machines. One minute it's healing a wound, the next it's lubricating a tank. That's not a metaphor. That's castor oil. And then, mix it with baking soda? Oh baby, that's alchemy. That's what happens when a kitchen pantry collides with a Tibetan apothecary. Baking soda, the humble warrior of alkalinity, unlocks the castor oil like a little white Zen monk bowing and saying, "Go ahead, friend, do your work." Now I know what you're thinking. Ramdas, are you really telling me that rubbing castor oil and baking soda on my belly is going to fix my prostate? Yes. Yes, I am. And don't take it from me. Take it from Ken, a 62-year-old former postal worker who found himself making more nightly pit stops than a trucker on a caffeine bender. He tried the meds. They made him dizzy. He tried ignoring it. That made him exhausted. Then he tried the castor oil ritual. Every few nights, Ken would lie back, castor pack on his belly, heating pad humming gently, and just breathe. No striving, no fixing, just being. He called it his nap with benefits. By week 2, he woke up and realized something shocking had happened. He didn't wake up. By week 4, his bladder had stopped throwing tantrums, and his wife said, "Ken, you're not so grumpy anymore." He said, "That's because I'm finally sleeping like a monk in a mountain cave." And this, dear friend, is what we call healing with presence. Here's how you try it. Grab some cold-pressed castor oil, not the cheap junk from the drugstore. Stir in a pinch of baking soda, just enough to make it feel like a potion. Soak a flannel cloth in the mix and lay it on your lower belly, just below the belly button. Cover it up with a towel or plastic wrap. Add a heating pad, lay down, and do absolutely nothing for 45 minutes. Do it 3 times a week. Not because you're fixing yourself, but because you're loving yourself. That's the Ram Dass way. Because here's the thing, your prostate isn't broken. It's just trying to tell you something. Maybe, hey, slow down. Maybe let's stop holding so much tension down here, yeah? Maybe rub some of that gooey golden stuff on me and chill out. So give it a try. Let the oil do its dance, let the baking soda play back up, and while you're lying there, just breathe. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to return to who you already are, a soul with a slightly cranky prostate and a whole lot of wisdom waiting to be remembered. Type prostate peace in the comments if you're ready to sleep through the night like it's 1974 again. Part 6. The gut reset that doesn't taste like regret. Let's talk about your gut. The great, mysterious middle. The place where butterflies live, where worry hides, and where every family-sized holiday meal eventually comes home to roost. It's also where you'll find one of the most honest reflections of your emotional and physical state. You can tell a lot about a person by how their belly feels. If it's bloated and sluggish, chances are life's been a bit heavy too. If it's tight and grumbly, there might be some tension looking for a back door. The gut, like the heart, speaks, just not always in words. Now, the pharmaceutical world will tell you to take a pill. One for reflux, one for constipation, another for bloating. It's like a dinner party of chemicals trying to manage a system that just wants to feel heard. But let me tell you something a little strange and a little beautiful. Your gut doesn't want to be forced. It wants to be invited. That's where castor oil comes in, not as a battering ram, but as a gentle invitation. Like a warm friend knocking at the door saying, "Hey, are you ready to let this stuff go?" Back in the day, they used to force kids to drink castor oil as punishment. But let's forgive them. They didn't know better. These days, you don't have to chug the stuff to get the benefits. In fact, you might not have to swallow a drop. All you need is a cloth, a warm towel, and a little faith in old-school wisdom. You see, when applied externally, right to the belly, castor oil encourages peristalsis, that beautiful rhythmic motion of your intestines saying, "Let's move." It calms inflammation, soothes the lining, and gently signals the body to resume its sacred, swirling dance of digestion. Let me introduce you to Cecilia, my sister in spirit and a lifelong warrior of bloating, cramps, and that mysterious, I just feel off stomach feeling. She'd tried it all: fiber supplements, fancy probiotics, even green powders with names that sounded like space stations. Nothing stuck. Then I suggested a castor oil pack. Her response? "You mean that stuff Mom used to torture us with?" Yes, that one. But this time, no spoon involved. She gave it a shot. Soaked a cloth in castor oil, added a pinch of baking soda for good measure, laid it on her belly with a warm towel, and just breathed. First time? She texted me 6 hours later, "What kind of wizardry is this?" By the third week, the puffiness had melted away. Her jeans fit again. But more importantly, she felt peaceful in her gut, like her insides had exhaled. Want to try it? Mix 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed castor oil with warm lemon water and sip it on an empty stomach. It's gentle, subtle, like giving your gut a love letter. Or go the external route. Soak a cloth in castor oil, place it over your abdomen, cover with a warm towel or heating pad, and relax for 30 to 60 minutes. Do it 2 or 3 times a week. No forcing, no pushing. Just giving your gut the sacred space to move like it's meant to. And while you're lying there, try this. Place your hand over your belly and say silently, "I trust you." Because the gut holds more wisdom than we give it credit for. It's where your instinct lives, where your courage rises, and when it's at ease, so are you. So if you're tired of the digestive drama and ready for a gentler, wiser approach, type gut peace in the comments. Part 7. The castor oil memory ritual for a mind that still wanders through the garden. Let's talk about something sacred, subtle, and sometimes scary. Memory. You know the moment. You open the fridge and forget what you came for. You're mid-sentence, telling a story you've told 100 times, and suddenly, poof, it's gone. You laugh it off, call it a senior moment, but deep down, it tugs at you like an old sweater that doesn't quite fit anymore. Memory, for many of us, feels like that elusive garden we used to stroll through with ease. Now the gates creak, the paths blur, and the flowers we once planted, some have wilted, some are still blooming, and some we're not sure ever existed. But here's the thing no one tells you. You are not your forgetfulness. The brain ages. Sure, that's science. Neurons slow, pathways falter. But awareness, that timeless spark inside you, it never fades. It just needs a little help remembering how to shine through. That's where our sticky old friend castor oil walks back in, this time not for your gut or your knees, but for your mind. Now, I'm not saying castor oil is some miracle brain tonic, but I am saying that when used with intention, it can become a powerful memory ritual. One that doesn't just nudge the brain, it awakens the soul's presence behind it. Here's the science part, just a sprinkle, I promise. Castor oil improves circulation, stimulates lymphatic drainage, and when gently massaged into the temples, scalp, and neck, it increases blood flow to the brain. More oxygen, more clarity, less fog. But that's just the physical layer. The deeper magic happens in the ritual. Let me tell you about Ani Dolma, a 79-year-old Buddhist nun I met at a monastery in northern India. She'd forgotten the names of all her novice students, but she still remembered every chant, every pause in the liturgy, and every soul who'd ever cried in her lap. She told me, the mind forgets details, but the heart remembers presence. Every night before bed, she would warm a few drops of castor oil, press it gently to her temples, and say, "May I remember who I truly am. May I rest in awareness, not fear. May my forgetfulness be part of the path." It wasn't about fixing her memory. It was about befriending her mind, touching it, soothing it, honoring it. Would you like to try it? Warm a few drops of cold-pressed castor oil between your fingers. Gently massage it into your temples, the back of your neck, and the center of your forehead, your third eye, as the yogis say. As you rub it in, say softly to yourself, "I am not lost. I am here. I remember what matters." Do this at night, before bed, not as a cure, but as a communion. Because memory isn't just about facts. It's about being present for your own life. It's about remembering that even if the names slip away, the essence remains. So if you've been worried about your memory, if your mind feels like it's drifting more than anchoring, maybe don't try to force it back into focus. Instead, love it back. With warm oil, with soft hands, with presence. Type mind peace in the comments if you're ready to return to yourself. One breath, one memory, one gentle ritual at a time. Part 8, the feet are sacred, grounding, castor oil, and the end of loneliness. Let's get down to earth. No, really, let's talk about your feet. Those noble, cracked, faithful companions that have carried you across miles, decades, and probably more than a few hospital floors, grocery store aisles, and dance floors in your younger days. And now, maybe they swell a little, maybe they ache, maybe they've grown quieter, a little more tired, but make no mistake, they're still holy. In Buddhist iconography, there's this beautiful image, the Buddha sitting in meditation, one hand touching the earth. That gesture is called the Earth Witness Mudra, a way of saying, I belong here. This ground holds me. And guess what? Your feet have been touching the earth all your life. But when was the last time you touched them? Not out of obligation, like trimming toenails or checking for swelling, but out of reverence, as a way of saying, thank you for holding me up. Let me tell you a story about Frank, an 82-year-old widower who lived alone in a little house tucked behind an overgrown garden. He used to be a dancer, ballroom mostly, the kind of man who wore polished shoes and could spin you like a leaf in the wind. But after his wife passed, he stopped dancing, stopped going out. He said the hardest part wasn't the silence, it was the lack of touch. Then one evening, he heard me rambling on about castor oil foot massages. He laughed and said, "You want me to rub salad oil on my feet like it's church?" But he tried it. He sat down, warmed the oil, and massaged his feet slowly, gently, not like an old man fixing something, but like a man returning to something sacred. By the second week, he said his feet felt alive. He started standing taller. He even put on his dance shoes, just to remember how they felt. And he said with a softness in his voice, it was like someone loved me again. Even if that someone was me. Here's how to try it yourself. Warm a tablespoon of cold-pressed castor oil in your hands. Sit in a quiet space, barefoot, present. Gently massage the oil into your feet and ankles, especially the soles. Use slow, circular motions. Close your eyes while you do it and say something kind, like, I thank you, I forgive you, I return to you. Optional, wear cotton socks after to let the oil soak in overnight, or just rest with your feet elevated. The science says this improves circulation, reduces inflammation, and activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Your body's built-in peace mode. But the spirit? The spirit says something even deeper. I am not alone. I am home. Because when you touch your feet, you touch the earth. And when you honor the earth, you dissolve the illusion that you were ever disconnected. So if you've been feeling lonely, ungrounded, or simply unseen, maybe it's time to return to the part of you that's touched everything without asking for thanks. Type foot peace in the comments if you're ready to reconnect, step by step, breath by breath, back into the warmth of your own presence. Part 9. The stress relief hack that beats meditation. All right, let's talk about the modern epidemic that doesn't come with a fever, but still keeps us up at night. Stress. You know, that sneaky little beast that tightens your shoulders, clenches your jaw, and hijacks your thoughts when all you wanted to do was make toast and not overthink the meaning of life. We're not talking about the kind of stress that gets you out of bed to catch a flight. We're talking about the deep, sticky kind. The kind that loops old conversations like broken records. The kind that has you staring at the ceiling at 2:47 a.m., wondering why your brain is doing jumping jacks while your body just wants to please go to sleep. Here's the thing. After a certain age, or let's be honest, a certain number of decades on this spinning rock, the nervous system doesn't rebound the way it used to. It's like an old radio. It still works, but it takes a little more finesse to find the right frequency. Now, you've probably tried the usual suspects: meditation, yoga, warm tea, breathwork, all the apps with gentle bells and whispering voices. They help until your phone buzzes, or the dog barks, or your taxes show up in the mail. But what if I told you there's a bodily backdoor to peace? That you could soothe your nervous system not through effort, but through oil. Yes, castor oil again. I told you, it's the Swiss Army knife of the spiritual body. Here's the secret. When you massage castor oil onto your belly and chest, you're not just moisturizing, you're stimulating something extraordinary. The vagus nerve. This isn't new age fluff. The vagus nerve is the command center of your parasympathetic nervous system, the part that whispers, you're safe, you can rest now. When activated, it slows your heartbeat, softens your muscles, lowers cortisol, and ushers you into the relaxation response, that sacred inner hammock where true healing begins. Let me tell you about Eli, a 61-year-old musician who used to fall asleep to the sweet sound of anxiety. He'd lie in bed, mentally rewriting every conversation he had that day. His shoulders lived somewhere near his ears. I suggested something absurdly simple: warm castor oil on the stomach before bed. He laughed, like I just told him to rub peanut butter on his chakras, but he did it. Night 1, not much. Night 2, a little calmer. By the end of the first week, he was falling asleep during his own belly massage, and not from boredom, from peace. Want to try it? Warm a tablespoon of cold-pressed castor oil in your hands. Rub it gently onto your abdomen and chest, like you're giving your inner child a bedtime story. Breathe while you do it, slowly, lovingly. Lie down, close your eyes, and let your vagus nerve do its ancient magic. No apps, no effort, just oil, warmth, and trust. It's not that meditation doesn't work, it's that sometimes we're too wound up to sit still long enough for it to help. Castor oil greases the gears of your nervous system so you can remember how to let go. And maybe that's what healing is. Less about fighting stress and more about surrendering into softness. So if you've been carrying too much for too long and your soul is craving silence beneath the noise, type calm peace in the comments. You're not broken, you're just tired. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to rest, like your nervous system finally believes you're safe. And with that, dear friend, we've explored castor oil as healer of prostate woes, hair journeys, joint aches, gut chaos, sluggish blood, aging skin, and now stress itself. From your bloodstream to your belly, from your joints to your memory, from the top of your scalp to the soles of your feet, we've wandered together through the wild, wonderful world of castor oil and baking soda. Not as a miracle cure, but as a reminder that healing doesn't always need to be high-tech, expensive, or complicated. Sometimes it's a warm cloth, a gentle touch, a quiet moment with your own body. We learn that circulation is life's way of whispering, keep moving. That pain is not a punishment, but a message. That our skin holds stories, our gut holds emotions, our feet hold the journey, and that even forgetfulness can be softened by presence. And the best part? You can do all of this at home. No prescriptions, just patience, presence, and maybe a little castor oil on your nightstand. If something in this video made you pause, smile, or say, I didn't know that, then share it with someone else walking the same path. A friend, a parent, a neighbor. Let the wisdom ripple. And if you want more grounded, gentle guidance like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're building a community here at Buddhist Wisdom for the Elderly, and every click, every comment helps us reach more people who are ready to age with grace, humor, and heart. So until next time, take care of that beautiful body of yours. Listen to it, touch it with kindness, and remember, healing doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a whisper in warm oil and a quiet thank you.